I'm here with Thomas Engel, who happens to be the technical director here at Factor 5, and who also did a lot of the base stuff for Rogue Leader, a lot of the base conceptual stuff of the engine driving the game, and Al Chen, who is one of the level designers and who's responsible for the first level, the first real level after Tatooine, the Death Star surface and trench run. Who are we going to start out with? Well, maybe Thomas, about technical sides of how do you get it to look like the movie?
Well, actually, the basic plan for the Death Star surface goes back to Space World. It is actually, all the ideas are stolen from the movie makers, of course. The guys at Industrial Light and Magic actually used little tiles to build their gigantic surfaces of the Death Star. And so do we. So this is all, you could imagine a big checkerboard with geometry on it. And that is what makes it look really like the movie, because it is like the movie. Of course, on top of that, to make it look more realistic, you have shadows, you have the big turrets, you have explosions going on, and all that type of stuff. And the trick here really is to make it look as vast and as, deterrently huge as in the movie, which was one thing that kind of made it necessary to have pretty sophisticated loading mechanisms in there.
LODing is basically
Yes.
Level of detail.
Level of detail, so what you don't see, you don't need to draw. And of course we, on the artistic side, had great care taken that the lighting is like in the movie and that the color tones are like in the movie. So hopefully this thing opens up and you think, wow, the movie.
Well, an interesting detail I noticed when watching the movie recently again was that we've got real-time light everywhere being cast from the lasers and everything,
Yeah.
which isn't the case in the movie because they didn't
True.
have ways when
True.
compositing together their effects to have actually real-time lights on
Yeah.
there. So
A couple of other things that again we stole. If you look at the turrets and how they shoot, then you'll see little flashes going on. And if you're really keen and sharp-eyed, then you'll see there's actually little circles. And if you step through Star Wars, you'll see they use little circles in front of the turrets to make the blast a bit more impact.
all right, content-wise, Al, what was the philosophy behind the first level?
Well, I mean, in terms of like the design side, the big challenge for this level was to recreate the movie, but also provide a nice, easy way for the player to get into the game and not to, overwhelm the player initially. So we basically just kind of looked at the movie and looked for really marquee moments of the movie, and we tried to recreate those scenes, such as the deflection tower attack, the first engagements with the TIE fighters, and also the classic trench run. From those elements, we managed to put together something that's challenging but not overwhelming to the player. And I think it's a good introduction for most people to Rogue Leader, and it's also something everybody remembers from the movie, especially the trench run.
People don't remember those obstacles you have to fly
Oh,
through.
well, the obstacles were kind of doing a little tribute to the old Atari arcade game, since it would be very boring for the player to just go in a straight line down a corridor like that. We decided to put obstacles in there, and surprisingly enough, the obstacles were probably the hardest part of putting this level together, because it's tricky to figure out how much obstacle to provide the player and still keep it fun, but still keep it from being frustrating for the first level.
Not make it too hard for a first level.
Mm-hmm.
We had a lot of tweaking going on just around E3. Basically, whenever one of the journalists looking at the game at the time was coming in, he was our next test candidate. So basically, we had somebody from Time magazine play it, and oops, he played really badly. So he was our blind tester. So next version was somebody from Newsweek, and basically we had toned it down a little bit for him, and then the next journalist would be our next blind tester.
Of course, you can't be sure. It can't just be that the Newsweek's guys are way better.
But that worked out pretty well. I mean, the level has barely changed since E3, and it's almost the same tweaking wise. I mean, you changed a little bit, I guess, but that's about it.